Welcome back to our project of recapping every single one of the top 100 horror movies of all time list, created by Scariest Things. Today, we're diving into the movie A Quiet Place, sitting at number 46 on the list. Humanity's gone mostly extinct because a pack of blind intergalactic creatures decided Earth sounded too chatty. These things are blind, armored, and have the hearing range of your nosiest neighbor. 89 days after their arrival, the world is a library, one loud breath away from extinction. If you so much as sneeze wrong, you're done. We meet the Abbott family, Lee, Evelyn, and their kids Reagan, Marcus, and Beau, doing their weekly grocery run. They're in an empty town, hunting for supplies, tiptoeing barefoot, communicating in sign language. In a store, Evelyn finds medicine for Marcus, who's sick. Reagan keeps an eye on little Beau, who's too young to grasp the danger that they are in. When he finds a toy rocket on one of the shelves, Lee takes out the batteries. They all leave the store quietly, except for Reagan and Beau. Reagan, trying to be kind, gives the toy back to him. Unfortunately, Beau takes the batteries too when no one is looking. The family makes their way home, barefoot, following a dirt path that muffles their steps. Lee carries Marcus, weak from illness. As they cross a bridge, the sound they all dread cuts through the air. The toy rocket comes to life. Lee sprints for Beau, but it's too late. A blur of claws tears out of the woods. The creature leaps out and snatches Beau. And just like that, he is gone. A year passes and somehow, the Abbotts are still alive. Reagan is plagued by guilt over Beau, and Evelyn is heavily pregnant. Their home is a fortress. They have cameras, lights, sand paths, everything built to keep the creatures away. Lee spends his time in his basement, surrounded by radio parts, desperate to find a weakness in the creature's armor. There are 3 confirmed in the area, but 0 ways to kill them. He also tries contacting other survivors, but has been unsuccessful so far. Meanwhile, Evelyn prepares for the baby's arrival with grim practicality: a soundproof crib, an oxygen mask, and a lid to close when the baby cries. It's not a nursery, it's a survival chamber. At dinner, they eat in silence, serving food on leaves. Later, the kids play Monopoly until Marcus accidentally knocks over a lantern, setting a fire, and everyone freezes while Lee puts it out. They wait anxiously to hear if the creatures are close, but they never come. Later in the basement, Lee keeps trying to make a hearing aid for Reagan, using random radio parts. Evelyn goes to see him, and they listen to a song with headphones and share a dance. It's day 473, and Evelyn checks her blood pressure while the baby's due date creeps closer, just 20 days away. She then listens to the baby's heartbeat. Meanwhile, Reagan visits their old house, stepping carefully on the creaky wooden floors. As she sneaks toward the basement, Lee appears like a ninja dad and silently drags her out. He tells her she shouldn't be there. Reagan, frustrated, insists she's not a child and won't make any noise. Lee gives her a new hearing device he's been working on, but she doesn't want it. It's never worked, and she's tired of pretending it will. He tries to put on her ear, but she refuses. Finally, he just places it in her hand and walks away. Inside, Evelyn is helping Marcus with his schoolwork. Lee comes in and signals Marcus it's time to go fishing, but Marcus is terrified and begs his mother to let him stay. Evelyn tells him he has to learn, and Marcus reluctantly agrees. Reagan actually volunteers to go, but Lee tells her to stay and help her mom. Angry and hurt, Reagan goes to her room and tries the new hearing device. It still doesn't work. Tired of everything, she packs her things and decides to leave. Marcus and Lee are at the river, checking the traps they've set for fish. Lee pulls one out and places it on a rock, but the fish starts flapping wildly, making noise. Marcus panics and starts to run, but Lee calms him down and explains that the river's roar drowns out smaller sounds. He tells Marcus that when the background noise is loud enough, it's safe. Then he decides to prove it. They walk to the waterfall, and Lee suddenly yells, an act that would have been suicidal anywhere else. But the crashing water swallows the sound completely. He assures Marcus that it's safe to talk here, since the falls are louder than anything they could say. For the first time in months, they actually speak to each other. Marcus tells his father that Reagan blames herself for Beau's death and quietly asks if Lee blames her too. Lee says no, Marcus then asks if he loves her and tells him he should tell her. Meanwhile, Reagan leaves home and walks to the bridge where the family left a small memorial for Bo. She takes the toy rocket, cuts its wires to silence it, but leaves the lights blinking as a quiet tribute to her brother. On their way back, Lee and Marcus come across an older man standing over the mutilated body of a woman, probably his wife. The man's expression says it all. He's done. Lee silently begs him not to do anything, but the man lets out a scream anyway, drawing a monster out of the woods. Lee grabs Marcus and hides as the creature tears the man apart. Back at the farmhouse, Evelyn's waters suddenly break. She heads for the basement to prepare, but on the way down, she steps on a nail. The pain makes her gasp, and she drops a framed family photo that shatters on the floor. A creature immediately heads toward the house. Evelyn, bleeding and in labor, switches on the red warning lights outside to alert Lee. The creature prowls through the house, even stalking into the basement. Evelyn hides in agony, trying not to make a sound as contractions hit. She manages to trigger a kitchen timer as a distraction, and when it goes off, she escapes and hides in the bathtub upstairs. Outside, Lee sees the red lights and sends Marcus to set off fireworks as a diversion. Inside, Evelyn begins to give birth, trembling in pain and silence. The monster is still in the house. Just as she can't hold it in any longer and finally screams, Marcus sets off the fireworks, covering the sound and saving her life. Evelyn finally screams from the pain of her contractions, bleeding heavily as Lee races back to the house. He follows the bloody trail up the stairs and into the bathroom. In the bathtub, he sees blood and thinks he is too late and his wife and baby are gone. But then Evelyn reaches for him. She and the baby boy are alive. He carries both mother and child down to the basement, puts a tiny oxygen mask on the baby, and places him inside a box so his cries won't draw the monsters. For the first time in a long while, Lee and Evelyn are able to speak freely. She is worried about Marcus and Reagan, and she admits she still blames herself for Bo's death, saying she could have carried him the whole way that day. She makes Lee promise to protect their children no matter what, and he goes out to search for them. Out by the bridge, Reagan sees the fireworks and runs home. As she moves through the cornfield, a creature sneaks up behind her. She doesn't hear it, but her new hearing device suddenly starts malfunctioning, producing a piercing feedback noise. The creature recoils and retreats, while Reagan doubles over in pain, unaware that the sound just saved her life. Elsewhere, Marcus runs through the field, panicking as one of the monsters closes in. He slams into a tractor and gets knocked out, but Reagan finds him. The two climb to the top of a grain silo to light a signal fire for their father, but a gust of wind snuffs it out almost instantly. Back at the farm, the basement begins to flood. The running water draws one of the monsters inside, right up to the baby's box. Evelyn moves slowly through the water, every breath measured. She grabs the baby and hides under the running water from a broken pipe. The creature inches closer, but a noise from outside distracts it and it rushes off. At the silo, Marcus slips and crashes through the roof, nearly crushed by a falling metal door. Reagan jumps in after him, and both nearly suffocate as the grain swallows them whole. A monster drops in, thrashing around, but they hide beneath the door. Reagan's hearing aid suddenly emits another piercing frequency strong enough to weaken the monster and drive it away. Reagan and Marcus escape the silo and find Lee. Their reunion is short-lived. The monster is still nearby. The kids hide in a pickup truck while Lee faces it. The creature lashes out, slashing him badly. Marcus shouts for his dad, and the monster zeroes in on the sound and moves towards the children. The creature jumps on top of the pickup and starts trashing it wildly. Lee looks at Reagan one last time and signs that he loves her and that he always has. Then he lets out a scream to draw the monster away. It kills him as Evelyn watches helplessly on the security monitors. Then the children drive the truck back home and run into their mother's arms. The family grieves for Lee, but moves quickly to the basement for safety. Evelyn hides Marcus with the baby, while Reagan notices her father's notes and equipment, his unfinished research on the creature's weaknesses. Then a creature crashes into the basement. Evelyn raises a shotgun, ready for the end. But Reagan realizes the sound from her hearing aid can hurt it. She holds the device to a microphone, unleashing a powerful frequency that makes the monster thrash in agony, its armored head splitting open. As it stumbles forward, Evelyn fires and blows it apart. On the security screens, two more creatures sprint toward the house. Evelyn reloads the shotgun while Reagan cranks up the frequency on the speaker. They are ready this time. The end. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time,